Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive.
And how exactly are you doing that?
Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation.
I might be willing to consider another fabric.
So not only are we not going anywhere.
Oh, come on!
Not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
I look at Omar, I don't know, I never met her. Well, I'm saying that if they're not happy here, they can leave. They can leave, and you know what? I'm sure that there'll be many people that won't miss them.
When our president decided that the Minnesotans are going to go back to their country, it was like, you know, we don't want this, don't want this, you don't want this. You can see how Omar is saying, like, they are bringing things into the country, we love them and stuff like that. It's good to love humans, yes, but now it's just a clear factor here and a clear fact. If you're not there, we are going to strive, because we have other nations and other countries who would love to be here. I'm not saying that the country should come after watching these videos. I'm just saying that if the Somalis are being here or not here, we are still going to thrive, okay? So that is just what I want to tell Omar, like, watch this and see.
Go home to mommy. Go home to mommy.
Donald Trump just announced he is ending protections against deportations for Somali immigrants in Minnesota. Trump claims that Minnesota is being overrun by Somali gangs terrorizing people. This is not true. The Somali people in Minnesota have done nothing but bring great food to the state. Trump has also called out the governor of Minnesota for allowing Minnesota to become a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity. Trump says billions of dollars are missing, a statement which has no evidence behind it, and Trump also said to send them back where they came from and it's over. Trump said he will be ending the temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota. Back in the 1990s, America decided that if you were from a country experiencing war, you could live and work legally in the U.S. Well, the war in Somalia is not yet over, and Trump is taking away that protection.
So now you may look at this and think the president is bad and all that stuff. Firstly, we know we have countries around the world, and now we think like America has been bad because our president has made such decisions. No. First, the president is looking from the angle of protection, like provision for its citizens and stuff like that. We know America is a great country. We don't need to dispute the fact with any other person, okay? So when Trump is like sending these people back home, some people look at it as something bad or something good or something like that, but we all know he's striving for the best or the greater good of America, the United States of America, you understand? Because when now he stopped this TPS program, it's like telling Somalians that, okay, if you guys can't fix things in your country, we have given enough time and length to fix this problem, to solve this particular problem. Don't just see it because your president has given you this program and now you just feel like you could do anything. No, he's like, you guys should take time now to solve this problem because there is a solution. You understand? So when he stopped this, you could see Omar is just so terrified and stuff like that because she's afraid. She knows the deeper truth, but won't come out and say it here. So let's watch this and see. It goes deeper into this. Like, watch this. If you're enjoying this, I want you to subscribe to the channel. Yes, watch this.
4 years later, by 2024, cost had been over $100 million, 104. Through the first 6 months of this year, costs are at $61 million, meaning if you double that over the entirety of the year, you're looking at $122 million. In 5 years, from $2 million to $122 million. Now, why? 6 people are accused of defrauding HSS, and they're members of the Somali community. But this just gets worse. If we take a look at Minnesota's federally funded autism program. Now, several people, and this is an example, a woman in the Somali community, are co-conspirators, and they're accused of recruiting kids for autism therapy. They brought in families, had them convinced to get their kids diagnosed as autistic. In fact, these families ultimately ended up having various social services bid for their children, competing with the number size of check that they would get. It didn't matter if the kids had autism. And what happened? Autism claims to Medicaid surged. In 2018, $3 million. By 2023, listen here, from $3 million to $400 million. Autism providers jumped from 41 to 328 in 5 years. Now, City Journal reports that the Somali fraud rings send a lot of money back to Somalia. 40% of households in Somalia get remittances from abroad. That totals $1.7 billion. That is more than the entire budget of the Somali government.
Did you hear that? Like, most of the money being sent back to Somalia. You understand? 1.7 billion or so? You can now think of why the president is cracking down on this. Like, through their activities and stuff like that. Do you know how much 1.6 or 4 billion could change? Do you know how many jobs it could create or stuff like that? You understand? So when the president sat and looked at this and went to the parliament and other documents and looking at this, like, said, no, something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. If the money that fits the home countries or the home is from abroad, and the guys from abroad, where is that money coming from? You come to the US here with us, and now you work the money and send back at home. Then us left here, we don't have what to do or stuff like that. So you see why the President Donald Trump is cracking down on this. It needs to be looked into, and very critically and very, very fast. You understand? Because they had this program where, like, they could just come into Somalia, feel free and stuff like that. They knew they had everything. Okay? But now things are changing. Now things have to be different, because we all understand now that the government is cracking down on this. The money just so much went back to the house. Like, watch this.
Money being sent abroad, from abroad, back to Somalia. Where is that money going? Take a look at this. Most alarmingly, a lot of that money is funneled through money traders, and in the end, ends up in the hands of al-Qaeda-linked Islamic terror group Al-Shabaab. So to bring this full circle, the Minnesota taxpayers are funneling money through fraudulent autism claims back to Somalia, where that money lands in the accounts of Al-Shabaab.
So not only are they unscrupulous enough to steal money allocated for hungry children, but they'll steal money allocated for children with mental disabilities. We are importing people into this country from places that absolutely despise us, who take advantage of our kindness, our generosity, our willingness to help, our social safety nets designed to protect people in need, and then scam, rob, and defraud them for everything they can. Because as Ilhan Omar stated, it doesn't matter that they live here. It doesn't matter that we make them citizens. They are Somalis, and the same cultural priorities and preferences that led to the destruction of Somalia are now leading to the destruction of Minnesota. But would you be surprised if I told you that this level of Somali corruption in Minnesota isn't a recent occurrence? Here is news footage from the early 2000s of Somali businesses in Minnesota being raided by the FBI for being money laundering fronts for Al-Qaeda.
I've been getting a lot of calls and emails and text messages about Donald Trump's post last night about our community. I will post it right here, where he is essentially claiming that he is going to terminate TPS for Somalis in Minnesota. I have been getting so many calls and text messages about it, and people are confused. What does it mean? How does it impact our community? How many people is this going to impact? How soon is it going to happen? And so I will use this video to try to break down for you as much information as I have. Okay, first, the basics. What does TPS stand for? TPS stands for Temporary Protected Status. Okay, so TPS is a federal program that allows people from certain countries to live and work here in the U.S. legally when it is unsafe for them to return to their home countries. The U.S. grants TPS to countries that are often facing armed conflict, natural disaster, just incredibly extraordinary things where it is hard for people to go back because they will die. They will not be able to survive those conditions, and it is meant for people to live here legally, work here legally, and be safe in this country. Okay, so Somalia is obviously one of those countries because it is going through a civil war and has been going through over the last 30 some years. So people who are here, some of them are on temporary protected status because they can't go back home, for obvious reasons. Okay, now let's go back to why we're really here. It's because the President of the United States decided to make a social media post last night saying, and I'll post it right here again, that he is going to terminate TPS for Somalis in Minnesota. First and foremost, this is a federal program. He can't just end TPS for one state. That's not a policy. That's the President of the United States once again doing what he does best, playing political theater with the people of this country.
This really has to be looked into, you understand? Because a whole lot of things have been going on. Yes, there's war, there's this for 30 something years. You could see like bringing a baby into your house and stuff like that, let's say from 0 years to 30 something years. That's an adult. You understand? Even if our nation or country, we know this, keeping people from 1 to 18 years, you have to leave the house. You understand? Because now we about the whole country for like 0 to 30 years, 30 something years, and they are staying to it. I don't know what Omar is saying. I don't know all the news that go around that Donald Trump is doing this because he just best at doing this, causing the disruption and all that. But you can see this. This needs to be done because the way things are going about are not the way things are supposed to be done. You get me? Because there are a whole lot of things where we look at them from one point of view, but now we have different points of view that this needs to be tackled. Because if this is not being handled well, it's going to cause problem in the long run. Because you can see a whole lot of things, a whole lot of countries coming here, just Somalia alone, 30 something years. What about the other countries? You can now see it means they don't want to solve their problems. That is how I call it. They don't want to solve our problems. Us in the United States here, we build companies, infrastructures that serve the whole world. Like this YouTube here, I'm talking here, we serve the whole and stuff like that. Why can't they not be created to solve their own problems? Who doesn't have problems? For 30 something years you can't handle your problems, then we don't call that a problem. You understand? Let's bring this, let's take this, let's talk about this. If you can't solve your problem for 30 something years, then why bring it to me? Because if I can handle your problems for 2, 3, 4 years, then you should be looking at the solution to solve that problem. Not allow it for 30 something years. Then who is going to help you solve them? Maybe this is going to call like a pain to their necks or a pain in the neck so that they are going to look like this is serious. Let's solve this so we could get things back on track. You get me? If you feel me, I want you to subscribe to the channel because you're going to be getting updates like this to help you keep you on the current of what is happening. Somalia needs to go away. You understand? Yes. Our president is holding on this. I know Omar is saying so many things like, do we have come to the end of this video? And I really want you to like subscribe. The next part is coming up soon. Thank you.